How's it going, everyone? Hope your day is going well. It's great to see you all again. Today we'll be going over 509's new 2020 glove lineup to help you decide which glove is right for you. So on the table here I have 4 of 509's new 2020 gloves. We've got the low 5 gloves here on the end, the new 2020 Freeride gloves, the Backcountry gloves, and the range insulated gloves. As well as the 2 pairs in the back are the 2019 Backcountry gloves and the 2019 Freeride gloves. And I'll be giving you a quick comparison between the old gloves versus the new ones. So this isn't the full lineup of gloves. There is 2 sets of gloves that are missing from this lineup, and that is the 4 low gloves as well as the factor gloves. The 4 low gloves are very similar to the low 5 gloves. However, the 5s have a Velcro strap on the back, and that is basically the only difference between the 2. Other than that, in color and styling and everything, they're very much similar to each other except for that little strap on the back, which that's why I went with the low 5s. So we'll start off here on the end with the low 5 gloves. Basically what these gloves are going to be best for is for spring riding and for shoveling. For any time it's really warm out and you don't need as much insulation or protection and everything, and you really just want a glove for either shoveling or that springtime riding when it's just too hot to wear the insulated type gloves. As well as they have this like anti-slip pattern with the 509 logo on the front for gripping the bar a lot better. As well as that palm material wraps around the fingertips. Now in seasons past I've worn a different set of gloves for spring riding, but I'm really glad I finally got these because I used to have an old set of gloves that I really liked for springtime, but once these came out, I had to have a set of these. So needless to say, I'm pretty stoked to try these out this spring. Now moving on to the new 2020 Freeride glove. These have been completely changed over from the previous year 2019 Freeride gloves. These are actually the Freeride 2.0s. This is the 2019 models. The original Freerides, I don't remember where I set those, otherwise I'd have those for an additional comparison. But you can see a lot of the differences. It's definitely a much better construction, much thicker material and everything. And the biggest visual difference is obviously not just the styling, but the overall size as well as the wristband is quite a bit different. And now they have this new Velcro design closure with what they're calling this speed cinch. And essentially how that works, you put your hand in, obviously, and then you simply just pull on the end here and it cinches the glove around your wrist, and then you lock it with the Velcro wristband. Now obviously comparing the palm on the 2020 versus the 2019, you can tell that the 2020s have a much better, much more reinforced palm there. And that's with 509's new top grain goat leather. As far as insulation, it's 40 grams on the palm and 70 grams on the back of the hand. So where I find myself using the Freeride gloves the most is probably on those days where it's not a super deep powder and it's kind of a warmer-ish day, but not warm enough to use like the low 5 gloves. I wear the Freeride so my hands were nice and warm, but it was also very breathable without having the thicker material of the Backcountry gloves. Now moving on to the Backcountry gloves and how they compare to the old 2019 Backcountry gloves. Insulation wise, they are very similar. They have 200 gram thin slate insulation on the back as well as 100 gram on the palm. Now obviously the biggest difference is the style as well as the new Velcro style closure rather than just the cinching type. And again, on the 2020 Backcountry gloves, they do have a reinforced leather layers for added wear strength, and that just helps keep it much more durable and reliable over time. Now obviously for the Backcountry gloves, I wore these mostly on the deeper days or when we're coming down off the mountain and it's really cold. Throw these on, throw the heaters on high, and race your buddies back to the truck. And now for the gloves that I am most excited to try for this new upcoming season, the range insulated glove. I've really been hoping for a set of gloves like this in the past because these are a much better insulated glove than anything 509 has made before. It's a 400 gram insulation on the back and a 100 gram insulation on the palm. And obviously it has the top grain goat leather reinforced just like the Backcountry gloves. So the palm on the range insulated gloves and the Backcountry gloves are very similar. It's the back side of the glove that's the biggest difference between the two and the insulation that's here. And to give you an idea of why I'm so excited to try these gloves this season is that 2 years ago when I was actually living up in Revelstoke, there was a time where there was a little bit of an inversion going on. What that means is that when we were down at the trucks, it was really cold. It was somewhere around, I think, -5 or -10 Fahrenheit, which I'll do the math on that in Celsius right here. So obviously I had to have the heaters on high and have my Backcountry gloves on for the trail ride in. I think it was about a 15 or so mile ride in. And then once we got to the riding area, it was actually like 10 or 15 degrees warmer up in the riding area up another 2,000 or 3,000 feet. So that meant taking off all my mid layers, my backcountry gloves. I went to my Freeride gloves for most of the day. And then once we started to head back down, the sun was going down. So the trail ride down was way colder than coming up. Not only from that inversion, but another cold front had come in. Plus it was starting to be nighttime, so it was another probably 5-10 degrees colder than when we actually left the trucks. So even with my heaters on high and my backcountry gloves, my hands were still super cold. And unlike a lot of my friends, and even our Canadian friends up north, when my hands start to get cold, I start to lose function in them because of the lack of blood flow. So even with the heaters on high and my backcountry gloves, my hands were still super cold going down that trail. And that's where these new range insulated gloves, I hope, are going to solve that issue. So if I do run into that super cold day like that again, I can throw on the low-fi gloves inside of the range gloves and have my hands be super warm. So that is going to conclude it for today's video, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you have any questions at all, let me know as well, and I'll do my best to answer them to the best of my knowledge. I'll leave a link in the description below for the 509 gloves. They have been selling out pretty quickly this year, so make sure you get an order in pretty soon so you can get yourself a set for this year. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell so you know when I upload my next video, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.